live video series. I'm doing 20 videos in the month of November, telling you guys all about the world of real estate. I talked about why I'm in real estate, what my story is, how I got here. I've been talking about buyers and their transactions, how to be a good buyer in this market. Next week, this week is next week. I'm going to talk about sellers and what sellers need to know, what sellers need to do. This is the last video for buyers. So, what to expect during a buying transaction. Um, it might feel overwhelming. It is about a month-long process or longer. And each day, each week, there's a new thing going on, a new thing happening, and it requires all this stuff to happen in order for something to carry to closing. So I'm just going to walk you through the steps real quick of a transaction, and if you're looking at buying a home, what you can expect during the process. So kind of like a checklist for you. So number one, you need to get pre-approved before you start looking at property. You need to know what you can afford, what your interest rate is, who your lender's going to be, because if you find a property that you want to offer on, you cannot do that without a pre-approval letter. Also, it's common courtesy. If you're going to be using a realtor's time, and if you're going to be viewing homes that are occupied, if you don't even have your pre-approval first, you're kind of wasting everyone's time. So first step, get a pre-approval. If you need a lender, reach out to me. I've got some good referrals for you. After you have your pre-approval, the next step is to look at homes and make an offer. Some people offer on the first house they find. Some people it takes 20 houses. It just depends on what you're looking for and if you know what area, what price range, all of that. Sometimes it takes time to narrow that stuff down. So that's step number two, is to look and find a house, make an offer. Once you're completely under contract, and I have another video I did last week where I explained what all these terms mean, like under contract, offer, pending, all that stuff. So you can look and find that if you know what I'm talking about. But once you're under contract, the first thing you have to do is submit an earnest deposit. Earnest deposit is money that belongs to the buyer that they're putting down in good faith, telling the seller, hey, we're not going to walk away from your transaction. There are terms of the contract provided for a buyer to get out, like inspections or appraisal, or if the seller doesn't hold up their end of the deal, in which case the buyer gets their money back. But most transactions, what happens is the buyer puts an earnest deposit down. It's a check that gets cashed by the title company, and then it comes back to you in the form of a credit at closing. So it's your own money, you keep it, but you're just trying to tell the sellers that you're serious about buying their house. If you do walk away for some reason not provided by the contract, then the seller gets to keep that money. After the earnest deposit is submitted and cashed by the title company and held on to for you through the rest of the transaction, you need to schedule inspections. This is a really important step, especially for first-time home buyers. The inspector is going to come and tell you everything that you need to know about your house, material facts, defects, if there's anything that needs repaired, regular maintenance, all of that stuff. You might need additional inspections like termite or radon or sewer scope or electrical or foundation. A lot of those things you find out from the initial home inspection, and then if you need to follow up with additional professionals, you get a 10-day period, usually a 10-day period to do that right after you go under contract. After you get your inspections done, you negotiate that out with the seller. Around this time is when you want to start looking for new homeowners insurance. It's when you want to start planning for getting your utilities switched over. It's when you want to book your moving company if you're going to be doing that. Kind of by the end of your inspection period, and especially by the end of the negotiation of the inspection period, you're going to be about 2.5 weeks out from closing by the end of all that. So that's when you need to be getting all that set up. After the inspection, usually the appraisal is ordered, and most of the time you do want to wait until the inspections are completely fully negotiated before you order that appraisal, because once you pay for it, it's done. And if you wind up not being able to negotiate out the inspection terms, then you've already paid for an appraisal on a house that you're not going to buy. So you need to wait till after the inspections, get the appraisal done. That comes back, the appraiser says, yes, the house is worth this, or no, the house is not. If they say, no, it's not, then you have to renegotiate with the seller. A lot of times, the seller will drop the price to the appraised value. Sometimes the buyer and seller will split the difference, in which case the buyer would have to bring a little bit extra money to closing. And sometimes sellers still don't budge. I've never had an instance where an appraisal was so crazy that we fought it, and if we fought it, it was overturned. Like that is very, very rare. So if the appraisal comes back super low, unfortunately, you're kind of just stuck with figuring out how to negotiate through that. After the appraisal, It's the title commitment. This might be the most important part, although it's usually one that buyers don't even know is happening. It's what ensures free and clear title from the seller to the buyer. So it makes sure that the title commitment makes sure that there's no liens on the property, that there's no ex-spouses somewhere that have to sign off or have a right to the property. It's making sure that the deed and the title of that property can actually be transferred to you without any legal obligations on your part. Then you get your loan approval at the end. We're pretty much now at the end of the transaction. That final loan approval is when your lender is going to submit everything through underwriting. They're going to pour over every document, make sure that everything is legit. They're going to pull your credit again. They're going to check your income again. They're going to verify your bank account again. It's very invasive, but this is why your lender is going to tell you do not open any new lines of credit during your transaction. Don't go get a credit card. Don't go to Nebraska Furniture Mart and get everything on credit. Don't go buy a boat or a car. If you're going to buy more than a loaf of bread, you need to be asking your lender about it. Like, don't move around big sums of money during your transaction because the underwriters might flag that and it might cause a problem for you getting your loan. Um, you also don't want to quit your job during this time. You're, let's say you're closing in 2 weeks and you're like, okay, I'll put my 2 weeks notice so that when we close, that'll be my last day. I'll still have a job. No, 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 no. The lender wants to know that you're going to continue to have a job after you buy the house with their money. So if you're planning on quitting your job, you better wait till after it closes. Once it's over, go ahead, quit your job, but not before. And then the last thing is closing and possession. Usually there's a final walkthrough with your agent before closing just to make sure the house is in the same condition that it was in when you first saw it. Sometimes you walk in at the walkthrough and they've taken down fixtures that they weren't supposed to take down, or they've damaged walls while they were moving out, or they left a bunch of trash behind. That's what the walkthrough is for, is to make sure that they are actually handing you what they're supposed to be giving you. And then you go to the closing table, which is usually at the title office, not at the property. And that's where you sign all the legal documents that not only transfer the title to your name, but also originate your loan. Um, and then you possess the house. A lot of times you get your keys at closing. Sometimes, based on your contract, it might be a little bit different. You might have a couple of days or so before you can get possession to the house, but you have to close before you can get the keys. So that is basically what to expect. Oh, closing costs. That's probably the last thing I'll cover in this video. Um, Closing costs are something that you can ask the seller to pay for. In a competitive buyer's market like we're in right now, sometimes sellers aren't willing to do that, or they'll only do a portion of it and you have to bring the rest of it. Basically, as a buyer, what your closing costs cover are you're going to be paying prepaid interest on your mortgage, you're going to be paying prepaid taxes, prepaid insurance, you're going to be paying for your title insurance policy, you'll pay for the loan origination, and if there are any fees associated with the real estate service that you're using, then you'll pay those as well. So depending on the price point you're at, the taxes and insurance is what makes it a lot of money. So it could be anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000 for your closing costs. I usually in the price range of people that I'm working with, which is like 100 to 400, you're probably going to be safe in that $6,000 range. If you get much over, your taxes go up and then your costs go up. So anyway, if you have any questions, let me know. If you or someone you know is thinking about buying a house, or if I didn't answer a question specifically that you're wondering what it is, let me know. Um, I work with buyers of all kinds, conventional FHA, VA, USDA, first-time home buyers, downsizers, whatever you need. I would love to help you get there. So video challenge, make sure you comment or share, and I'll enter your name in a drawing to win a $100 gift card to the local business of your choice. Thanks for watching, guys.